pay depends on what you're earning. This is revolutionary. Millions and millions and millions of Americans will be helped, and we'll soon be back to number one and going on into the 21st century in the way we ought to. Except, unbelievably enough, the leaders of the opposition party want to repeal the law. Why? Because the people want their $60 billion back. The people running those anonymous ads here against Alex Sink and others, they want their money back. And they don't give a rip if we fall from 12th to 20th to 30th to 50th, if the whole future of the country is compromised, long as they got theirs now. That's what's the matter with this country. If you want to save this program, you better vote for Kendrick Meek for United States Senator. Ask Bill Nelson if I'm not telling the truth. It's exactly what happened. This is the most important thing nobody knows. If every young college student who was registered to vote knew this, they would outvote the rest of the population, not have the rest of the population, not have a 55% drop. This is a huge deal. All day long tomorrow, those of you that are still in college, don't you pass a classmate without telling them what happened to the student loan program and that it is at risk. Your future depends on it. Now, let's just do one other issue. I don't want to keep you here all night. There's one other thing that's really important. So everybody's upset about the bailout, right? And all these Republicans are worried. They're just cussing the bailout. They're saying, we're the new Republican Party. Even though we burden this country with more debt than we can barely get out of, we're reformed. We are going to, no more, we're the anti-bailout party. You know what they're saying? Here's another thing nobody knows. Senator Nelson and all these members of Congress voted for a Wall Street reform bill. Does lots of stuff. That's one reason nobody knows some things it did do. It saves you $5 billion a year in freedom from credit card abuses. But here's the most important thing. Here's the most important thing. It says, first of all, we think we can prevent another crash like this from occurring by monitoring these Wall Street banks and making sure they behave more like banks down here. We're going to watch them every month. Keep in mind, when this whole thing started and Lehman Brothers failed, they had $23 at risk for every dollar in cash they had. You go down here and borrow money from a bank, they'll loan about $10 for every dollar you have in deposits. So they say if they start getting up to too much risk, the federal regulators will make them set aside more cash. They need to make money the old-fashioned way, by loaning money to people to create jobs and expand businesses and bring in manufacturing. Okay?
That's right.
But here's the thing, even more amazing. We're on the night before the election. Nobody knows this. There's another provision of that law that says if these clever rascals get around this, and there is ever another crash, this time there will be no bailout. It is not legal. The shareholders and the executives have to eat the losses. No more bailout. And what's the significance of that for this election? Unbelievably, the leaders of the House and Senate and the Republican Party and their agenda say that one of their top priorities is to repeal this because it's meddlesome government. They say, you talk about bait and switch, they say they're against the bailout. They want to repeal a law that bans bailouts. Why? Follow the money.
Yeah!
So, if you feel sick about the bailout and you're in the Tea Party, my advice to you is you better vote for Kendrick Meek because the other guy is going to make us have more bailouts. Kind of nice having an election based on the facts, isn't it? Makes you want to go vote, doesn't it? Makes you want to go ask other people to vote, doesn't it? Now let's look at the governor's race. I was a governor for 12 years. I know something about that too. When I came down here running for president, my state led the country in job growth. We had one of only 2 states with the pension funds not in trouble. And we were just voted one of the 2 states with the most improved schools. What's the point of this? The governor of Florida will determine the pace and nature of your emergence from this crisis. So,
Alex,
you got two choices. Alex Sink, we want the one with hair. I agree with that. So look. Alex Sink got to run the biggest bank in Florida the old-fashioned way. She earned it.
Yeah!
Can you imagine how hard it was for a woman starting out at the bottom and getting to the top when she did it? But she did it. Then she became your comptroller, and she saved, I don't know, I quit counting, at over $100 million she saved you just by running the state better, by canceling contracts and canceling projects and redoing the way the state does its business, because she actually understands how to do things. She saved money. The other guy made a fortune by ripping your money off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah!
I mean, forget about the criminal business. He made a fortune ripping your tax dollars off. Walked out of a company with $300 million in stock options that paid $1.7 billion in criminal and civil fines for the biggest Medicare ripoff in history. That's a real recommendation for becoming governor of Florida. And then he said, but I didn't know anything about it. Nobody charged me. Then it turns out that one of the biggest problems, paying doctors kickbacks to put their patients in your hospital instead of somebody else, started in the hospital that he personally ran. You have a big choice here. I'd rather have somebody that saved the taxpayers' money than someone who ripped the taxpayers off.
Yeah!
You have to decide. Then she gave, this is something that's important to me because I run my foundation this way. Then she put everything online. So the Tea Party people ought to be for her too. Because Florida's a place where you can see what's happening to your tax money. And if you don't like it, you could call her office and chew them out. Because it's all right there. She's open. What did he do? Heck, he won't even answer questions. He won't go to editorial boards. I can only imagine how much of your money and all these programs are going to poof disappear from public view if he becomes the governor. I say I'd rather know what's going on than have it in the dark. If you want it, you better vote for Alex Sink. Wait a minute. What about the plans for the future? She's the only one with a real economic plan, the only one with a real economic record. She actually made money in the private sector, not supported by government spending.